Imagine a long stretch of desert with two ancient cities. One is crowned with synagogues, the other with minarets. Between them lies a road that's seen centuries of stories, blood, and belief. Welcome to the tension between Israel and Iran, a clash not just of politics, but of profound, inherited convictions. In a world where satellites orbit Earth, artificial intelligence writes poetry, and science deciphers the human genome, how do ancient faiths still fuel distrust, division, and even war? The answer isn't simple. It's not just ideology or history. It's about identity, memory, emotion. It's human. Let's begin with inheritance. A child born in Tel Aviv is likely to hear stories of Abraham, Moses, and the Promised Land. A child in Tehran might grow up with tales of Ali. These stories come with rituals, holidays, do's and don'ts. They shape holidays, language, and dreams. They're not chosen, they're absorbed. And when something becomes part of who you are before you know who you are, letting go can feel like self-erasure. Now picture these children growing up. Around them, every wall echoes their faith. Schools teach their history. Politicians quote their scriptures. Soldiers swear by their gods. In these places, belief isn't a private matter, it's a public fabric. To question it means standing alone. And when that belief is reinforced by national pride, questioning can feel like betrayal. But belief also brings comfort. Both nations have endured trauma, wars, sanctions, persecution. Belief gives pain a purpose. It tells them their struggle is holy, that their suffering is not in vain. For many, that's not just powerful, it's healing. But healing doesn't make something true. A myth that soothes still remains a myth. Fear stokes the fire too. Fear of betrayal, fear of extinction, fear that the other side wants your erasure. In Israel, history carries the weight of the Holocaust. In Iran, memories of foreign coups and invasions shape every policy. Religion becomes the shield against this fear, a divine promise of protection. But fear-based faith often locks people in, not lifts them out. And humans, by nature, look for patterns. One rocket fired becomes proof of prophecy. One sermon is seen as warning. We connect dots even when there are none. This pattern-seeking reinforces the divide. It builds a narrative of us versus them, often wrapped in scripture and nationalism. And once belief fits the story, it's hard to break. Add confirmation bias to the mix. When peace talks fail, it's divine will. When violence breaks out, it's judgment. Each side remembers the moments that support their truth and forgets the ones that challenge it. It's like reading a sacred book and skipping the parts that call for unity. Education plays a part too. Many grow up without truly learning about the other side. What they know of the enemy is filtered through media, myth, and politics. Exposure is rare. And without exposure, empathy doesn't grow. Without empathy, belief remains hardened. And then there's pride. Nations built on divine narratives don't easily admit wrong. Saying, "we may be mistaken," feels like betrayal to ancestors, martyrs, and identity itself. So instead, they double down. Flags are waved. Scriptures are weaponized. Not because the evidence demands it, but because pride resists surrender. Religious authority adds weight. In both places, clerics hold influence. Their words shape law and war. Questioning them risks exile, prison, or worse. And that obedience isn't always about faith. It's often about fear, status, survival. Let's not ignore the power structure. Faith isn't just spiritual, it's institutional. It funds armies. It wins elections. It defines laws. Those in power have every reason to keep the faithful loyal. Because the more people believe, the tighter their grip. And finally, the unknown. Both nations ask, who are we? Where are we going? What happens when we die? Religion provides answers. Neat, scripted answers. So why does the fire still burn between Israel and Iran? Because belief isn't just about gods. It's about grief, about belonging, about fear and comfort. But emotional weight doesn't equal evidence. Just because something feels righteous doesn't mean it's right. Still, there are glimmers of change. Young people asking questions, scholars crossing boundaries, artists and thinkers challenging dogma. not to destroy belief, but to reshape it, to build bridges instead of walls. This isn't a call to abandon faith. It's a call to understand it. Because only when we see belief for what it is, can we begin to ask if it's still serving us, or if it's time to rewrite the story. In the end, belief divides not because it's divine, but because it's human. And maybe that's the very reason we must keep questioning it.